So here is the Power Tool Workbench, a workbench I built for Popular Woodworking magazine in the early 2000s. It was designed to sit behind a table saw, which is why its size is what it is, which is about 26 deep. It's about 56 wide and 34 inches high. I made a lot of changes to this bench, but it still serves us in our workshop here, albeit in a little different way. The main work holding on this workbench has always been a Veritas twin screw, which does a pretty good job for a lot of things. It does hold work well for dovetailing, and with the dog system here, it will pinch things between dogs. But what is pretty frustrating about it is it's chain driven, and so there have been some maintenance issues. If you get any rust in there, it can be pretty difficult to clean out. So I've had to take this thing apart a couple times and rebuild it. But it's still a functioning vise and has its place in some workshops. The original workbench didn't have a face vise, but I added this one, which was from my grandfather's workbench. It's just a simple Craftsman, probably made by Jorgensen, and it is bolted to the underside of the bench top. And this sees an awful lot of use just for handling stuff for planing when you're working on edges or ends of short boards. But like any quick release vise, it's not the end all. A few years after I built this bench, I added this end planing stop, which this thing moves up and down when you move the star knobs. And so you can adjust it to, a bunch of different heights for planing thick or thin stock. It works surprisingly well, even though it's really quite ugly. We have a series of dog holes that are on far way too long centers. I think these are on 12-inch centers, which is just stupid. Along with my patented chamfer on the dog holes. Don't know why I leaned into that again. And you can pinch stuff between the dogs using the Veritas twin screw. And here you can see the trenches that were designed for the miter bars as they came off of the table saw. So this bench top was designed to be at the end of a table saw. One of the biggest failings and the biggest advantages of this workbench are the drawers beneath the bench top. Failings because it's really difficult to use holdfasts. They don't have enough room to work and keep ramming into the drawer box. But it does provide a nice shelf for holding shooting boards and other things. And we use these drawers. They are just absolutely chock full of drill bits and sandpaper and the other stuff that you need for a production shop. A few years ago, I added this paper dispenser. So this is a big roll of newsprint that we roll out whenever we need to do a glue up or do finishing on the workbenches. It's really quite handy and really quite ugly. Overall, I'm really quite attached to this bench. I gave it to my father, and so it was behind his table saw down in Charleston, and it survived at least two hurricanes, and was floating in 6 feet of water during the last storm surge down there. So it is a survivor and is really well put together. But, as a workbench, I'd say overall it's a little small for traditional hand tool work. But if you have a small workshop and you need something that goes behind your table saw and you don't do a ton of hand work, it's not a bad bench at all.